Alright, here we are in round 3 of the cube draft. We are playing a blue-black control deck. We are up against Leia X. We would like to play first. I know she or he, I don't know, is on they're a red-green mid-range aggro deck. So, more mid-range. A bunch of 3 and 4 drops are beating in for them. So, we will keep this hand. It's really good. We have a turn 2 Cloudscape. We also have counter spells, will benders, and just figure we actually can play all our spells, which is really good. I'm gonna be suspending the Cloudscape. Always better to suspend cards sooner than later. And really, there's no point leaving up Disfigure or Vendetta on turn 2, so. And next turn will be face downing the Willbender, most likely. Goblin Patrol. Oh, okay, well, that's a pretty aggressive card. Draw a Swamp, which is actually pretty good. I really wanted to land just because now, our 4-drops are really where this deck shines. So now that they're online, that's a lot better. As well, it also lets us keep multiple combinations of instant speed effects up, like Forbid, Disfigure, Forbid, Vendetta, Willbender, and both Disfigure and Vendetta. I know one of the cards that she has is I don't know. I'm going to refer to my opponent, I guess. So my opponent has both Briarhorn and Rancor as sort of pump effects, so we should be wary of those, although Rancor, it's usually pretty obvious when you have it. And our Bender gets Volcanic Hammer, which kind of sucks, but, those are the beats. We're going to F6 here, definitely letting him get through with the Patrol. I don't know if I'll Disfigure it next turn, or Vendetta. He's just got so many guys that, especially if our opponent has the Briarhorn, then Disfiguring could be pretty bad if we do it on our opponent's turn. I think I'm just gonna say go. No, I'd rather get Hammer out actually, because we're really if we can draw a Conundrum Sphinx or something like that, that'd be really good. Or even a Moroi. Goblin Patrol. Sick beats. Alright. Interesting, there was no pre-combat land to bluff the Briarhorn, unless it's just going to be an evoked Briarhorn. Civic Wayfinder. Alright, that's pretty good. We do get a Riftwing Cloudscape next turn, which is kind of nice. I think I will Disfigure this Wayfinder, just because that way we're not losing too much life, and that we can still sort of race with the Cloudscape. And obviously, it's better to Disfigure that than to Vendetta it, because we can, Vendetta kills a lot more stuff, and if we end up wanting to kill that anyway, then we're losing 1 more life than we would otherwise. And it's a Riftwing Cloudscape comes into play. It's bounce up permanent. Well, we're going to be bouncing a Patrol and most likely just suiting him up with the Hammer and bringing the sick beats. Hammer's so good. Although it would be kind of awkward if our opponent had an Oxidize or something like that, but I'm pretty sure that main decking that is pretty terrible. So we will suit it up. And we go back up to a nice comfy life total of 21, and with all the lose life effects we have in our deck, like the Muse and the Ifrit and the Vendetta and the Night's Whisper and all that stuff, it's, every other ounce of life you can get is really good. Unfortunately, our Cloudskate is not bound long for this world and is promptly firebolted. I assume our opponent's just going to play out the Goblin again, and maybe like land another card. Not sure. Okay, and Bogart Ramgang comes down. That is a very good Vendetta target, just because it makes it awkward for the rest of our guys. Alright, so oh no. The only thing our opponent misses their land drop, so they still got the Goblin in hand, and then 4 other cards, which are not lands. Possibly I should have left that in my hand, actually, just to discard to Forbid, but I think our deck, especially with Hammer out, we would like the extra land, so that if we play a 3 or 4 drop or whatnot, we can still equip it in the same turn. Patrol is fine. With at least 4 spells in her hand, I really would rather not kill that. And the Greaves, though, I think has to be countered. It just means anything our opponent plays that's much that's really powerful, like anything with 4 or 5 power, is just getting in for that much more damage. And it makes, although we've used most of our removal spells, makes a lot of our draws dead. Although we still have mind control. Ether Vial is fine. Not the best of cards, but now we are drawing pretty live to most spells, I believe. Anything that's not here, I'll just F6. Anything that's not a land, I think is live. Obviously, I don't want to be mind controlling this Goblin Patrol, but if I draw mind control, I'm not going to be upset. So we've got extended season is just coming around the corner. I know I've been practicing a lot of extended. Unfortunately, due to Christmas and the holidays, as well as the fact that for some reason there's not a great amount of interest in the format, we haven't been able to get events to fire up my game store, and so. But I'm going to attribute most of that to the whole Christmas break, and like even myself, I haven't played a sanctioned match of Magic in 3 or 4 weeks, so So I'm gaming all this on Moto, and when Thea put out a call for Cube Draft, I'm like, yes, I want to get in on this. So I've been practicing a lot of Extended on Magic Online and stuff like that, and we draw a City of Brass. However, I'm just gonna keep it in hand because I don't think we need that much mana, unless if we play land next turn. If we draw land next turn, we definitely play it so that if we draw Grave Titan, we can go we can Grave Titan and equip in the same turn. But otherwise, I think we don't need to. We gain more from having the City of Brass in our hand, or at least our opponent not knowing that we're running on absolutely air. We've drawn like 2 creatures out of our 16 creature deck or something. Okay, it's only 15. We cut it down. We have 13 creatures left. Half our deck is creatures, or mind control. No, I don't think that counts mind control. So Vial's at 2. I don't know. A bunch of these cards, I know what they do. Maston Myers. how apt that the name of Thea's blog is now beating me down in cube. But yeah, no, I'm pretty screwed if I don't draw creatures soon. I don't know how many of these cards you guys know and how many you don't. I just know a lot of these because I've cubed a bit in my day. So I hope I've mussed over the correct ones. If you guys have to fire up Gatherer or Magic Card Safe or something during this video, I'm sorry. Master Mars is actually it's a really good card in Cube. It's also a really good card in I think it was Lorwyn Draft. I really enjoyed playing Master Mars. Bouncing Jaguar, just all these cheap Echo guys. Oh, and there is Mind Control. Your mind shall indeed be controlled. Like, I hate doing this, right? But I'm going to get some decent value off it. So, of course, if our opponent now goes like Inferno Titan or something, I'm going to look like a terrible, terrible player. But the alternative is me taking 7 damage next turn, and then as well as the overflow from whatever I do next turn, because I obviously won't be able to deal with like multiple creatures. So, man, you know, I really wish I had a Contagion. That's the Black Force of Will. It's you can it costs 5, or you can pitch a black card and pay 1 life, and I think it's you put 2 -1/-1 counters on 2 of your opponent's creatures. Just you know, it's pretty solid. And just get this patrol and then make this Jaguar weak and block it favorably. Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting to notice how like the other members of that cycle are either unbalanced or really fair or not nearly good enough. Like Force Will is actually like its card disadvantage. I think it was John Medina recently said it when Gavin Verhey asked him like he asked everyone on Twitter what are the 5 most overrated cards of all time, and a lot of people said Force Will, including John Medina, with the reasoning that holy crap, that's flanked on Gabu. Well, not actually that, but the reasoning that it's built-in card disadvantage, right? And so the only reason you play is if there's a reasonable threat of you dying out of nowhere, which is relevant in Legacy and Vintage and whatnot, where you have to be able to counter the key spells, or you might just die, die to Ad Nauseam Tendrils or die to Time Vault, or whatever. You need to have that card. But at the same time, like there are some other cards, like Contagion, like I was talking about, like you spend 2 cards if you pay the alternate cost, but you can kill 2 creatures, or set up a combat such that you gain 2 creatures worth of value. Or, although Pyrokinesis really doesn't do it, I think it deals 4 damage. It might divide, I'm not sure. And there's things like the green one, Bounty of the Hunt's really bad. It just gives 3 creatures, I think it gives them like a +1/+1 counter, but the counters go off at end of turn. So it's pretty much give 3 creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. Alright, and look, it's just really marginal, I think. We top deck our Moroi, which is, I guess, kind of nice. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have another FTK-esque effect. We do have to know that Master Mire is most likely coming back out of the graveyard as soon as our opponent plays another creature spell, because so far all our opponent's creature spells have been really, really, really cheap. And so, paying the extra double green is probably not going to be a huge deal for our opponent. And Ether Vial is going to be up at 4 most likely soon. And so, yeah, and so that can just put Master Mire straight into play, which is pretty sick. So if our opponent attacks with FTK, I actually think we just let it go, because I don't want to trade one of the few creatures I've drawn this game for the FTK and some life, because then I'm in the exact same situation. And I'd rather, have something on the board. And this is also, it's presenting a 3-turn clock if it's not dealt with, so. But we do know there is a Firebolt in our opponent's graveyard, so if they have any... So we can't... Oh, Bone Splitter, that's really good. This actually sucks, because, no, it's alright, because if our opponent equips the, if they equip the Bone Splitter to a creature, and then swing up the team, they don't have enough to Fire Blast our guy. Um, yeah. So now we can block if he just attacks with the with these. If he attacks with the team, we can block the patrol. Oh wait, what? Oh, the bone splitter only costs 1. Okay, never mind. Okay, so yeah. So if they attack with a team, I have to like I can block the goblin patrol, but then the fire blast comes out of the graveyard, and that's just gonna be really awkward. So I have to block. I guess block this jaguar such so that we don't get so that they have to waste an extra mana equipping it. And then we gain because we're losing the Maroi, definitely. There's no question about that because of that fireball. He's vialing something in mid combat. Oh no, it's the Briarhorn. No. Actually, that doesn't kill me though. Okay, it doesn't kill me. I don't. Yeah, especially because I've got lifelink. See, this is a situation where the new lifelink rules post Magic 2010 are very relevant because if the lifelink's still stacked and the damage went through first, I would be dead here. But as it is, I live to see another draw step at 7 life. What are our live draws? We're really drawing to. Well, obviously land is dead, but we don't have any like if we had just like a wall, like that would be pretty solid. Also, I wish I had Cruel Ultimatum in this deck. That'd be pretty sick. Our opponent didn't realize that we were not dead because of the new way lifelink works. As I just explained, that the lifelink happens as part of the damage, and so instantly gains us the life. So in the old days, you would in that situation, my lifelink trigger it would go on the stack, and by that time damage had been dealt, and I would be at 0 life, and so I'd be like, oh, okay, well I'd be dead because I'd have this trigger on the stack that would gain me 7 life, and I would receive priority. State-based actions would be checked, and I would die, but that's not how it works. Anyway, we draw land and we concede. So that's game 1. What are we looking to bring in? Man, if I was playing white, I would bring in this Knight in the Metal Grain. It would be sick. Absolutely sick. I'm going to bring in Thieving Magpie, though, because that seems really, really good. Whereas something like... actually, I really just want creatures. Something like Forbid is not going to be at its best. Oh man, Straight Arrow is also going to be pretty sick. So, Willbender seems less than great. Man, such an early pick, but was not able to. The cards just didn't come for it. All right, we'll see you in the next game. All right, we are here for game 2 of round 3 in this cube draft. We are most definitely playing first. Sand is fine. We have I guess we have turn 2 counterspell if that's what we want to be doing on turn 2, but and we also have a turn 3 Shadow Mage Infiltrator, which not only is it good against this deck because it blocks all those 2-power guys, assuming that Firebolt is not involved, but it draws us cards. And after all, who doesn't love drawing cards? I know I do. Pouncing Jaguar? Really? Sick. Alright. The beats are coming. Alright, so I'm going to suspend this. Jaguar Echoes. Man, it's amazing how, if you think, like, how 1-mana creatures have come. Because here you've got a 1-mana 2/2, but you have to pay green again. And this is in green, the color that's, supposed to get, really good creatures, like efficiently costed cheap beaters. relatively speaking, right? And you know, and then you see like Isamaru, which is just a white 2/2 with no drawback aside from being legendary. And so it's just interesting to see. And now you've got things like Elite Vanguard at uncommon when it used to be rare, or in Savannah Lines. And Savannah Lines is actually itself an uncommon in Masters Edition 4, which is, as I said earlier, coming out this weekend. And so just interesting to see what the standard for creatures is like. Even in Zendikar, you had like Scythe Tiger, if you guys remember that. It was like green for a 3/2 Shroud. You sack a land when it enters the battlefield. Obviously not the best card, so like no play whatsoever. But, it's, I don't know, it's just an interesting development in how creatures come. I don't know, with them able to make a 2/2 for a single white mana, like you would think they would be able to make one in green, because that's the color that usually would get that sort of thing. I don't know if it would like break the format or whatever. Probably not, but I guess if you had too many of them, it might. If you had too many of those, plus like a bunch of anthem effects. But really, without like one like 2/2s for one are only so good, right? The reason that decks like black-white tokens or whatever are good, or green-white tokens, is because you can mass produce the tokens, right? You can get 3 tokens for one spell from like Spectral Procession, or a bunch of tokens from Bitter Blossom and whatnot. So, and that's why the decks are good. Is if you just had like a bunch of 1/1 spirits in your deck, that would be a lot worse. So we're gonna get in there with the Infiltrator, draw some cards. Our opponent missed their land drop, which is interesting. They come like if you keep a 1-land hand and you don't play the birds turn 1 and you play the Jaguar, that's just really ballsy. And so I'm pretty sure they kept a 1-land hand without this birds. Yes, I would love to draw a card. Hammer's always obviously really good, but we're going to punish our opponent's mana slow draw by placing serrated arrows, or playing serrated arrows. Going to instantly shoot down this birds. I know. It seems like serrated arrows is a card that you could, like a new version would be so much simpler. It would just be like it comes in with like 3 -1/-1 counters, and then you would tap to move like a -1/-1 counter from it, because there's nothing in the rules that stops an artifact from having -1/-1 counters, right? It's only for like if you play like a March of the Machines or an animate artifact or something like that, then it would be a 1/1 instead of a 4/4. So I guess that's the only functional difference. But like it just seems like turning arrowhead counter, and then it would obviously like I wouldn't even have it sacrifice if you had if it ran out of counters, but I don't know. Just interesting to see how all these old cards, how their templating is even now with modern functionality really weird. It's just like they reprinted Ice Cauldron in Master Edition 4, and I'm just so confused about what that card does every time I look at it. I know I'll open one in a draft and I'll be like, oh, I have a minute to read this card. It probably takes a lot longer. So our opponent gets an Ether Vial in play, and that kind of sucks, but I really don't care, because we're bouncing the Jaguar. Echo, you still have to pay it even if it wasn't cast, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, return target permanent? Oh, do I want to turn the Vial or the Forest? No, I want to return the Jaguar, because that way I also swing in. Yes, would love to draw this card. I want to leave counterspell mana up, so I'll just play the Night's Whisper. Draw some cards, lose some life. It's all good. I'm pretty sure we've won this game. But the reason why I like bouncing is because I assume our opponent has their red 2/1 goblin or something like that. No, they wouldn't have that because that's got a red echo. But some sort of 1-drop that you could probably play off the Vial, and then this way, if our opponent draws a land and plays a relevant 2-drop, we can counter it just to keep up the whole denial package going, and then next turn play and equip hammer, and just bring the beats. However, it does not look like our opponent has drawn that land, and that's going to be pretty crucial, especially we have the short arrows on board, we have counterspell in hand. Our opponent makes a 2-2, which is 100% fine. Oh, Curd Ape, okay. That is not a, it's not a 2-2. I'm actually going to counter this. Yeah, I'm going to counter it. Because I don't think our opponent's going to be playing better, like, worse creatures than that, so I might as well counter it, and then the next time they play a better creature, we can mind control it. And this way, this just doesn't let them... Although, they would have to pay the green for that. That play might have been wrong. But... I know as I'm taking a hammer and gonna... play around, I guess, like something like Burst Lightning or whatever. Actually, no, because we know our opponent has Volcanic Hammer, and if they have Hammer, if they cast Hammer, like, I'd rather keep this Infiltrator than the Cod's Gate. And we would gain more life this way, too. Yeah, that's probably a misplay. Look at my clock. It's past midnight. I'll blame my mistakes on that. However, I still think there's virtually no way we can lose this game. Although, stranger things have happened. If our opponent goes land, I have no clue. Our opponent, like, they have, like, this hammer is gonna just, keep wrecking them, especially when we got a bunch of evasion guys out. And mind control, Conundrum Sphinx, and Kazan Sniper, and any guy with 1 toughness instantly dies. Or a guy with 2 toughness, we can choose to kill it by putting a counter on it during their turn and then 1 during our turn. So, this board position is super favorable. I'm sorry if this game's kind of boring, but, sometimes you just gotta take your wins, especially when we got blown out the first game. Or not blown out, but, we did not win the first game. Here, I'm gonna pause it while our opponent tanks. So, our opponent plays the Bone Splitter, which is more than acceptable. Like they can't race us at all because we've got this hammer, right? They got that land, but they obviously don't have Volcanic Hammer because playing a Bone Splitter when your opponent has a Lockstone Warhammer is pretty much the definition of exercise and futility. Like, I don't know. I guess if they had, like, if they were trying to set up like one huge turn with like a Berserk or something involved, but I would not count on something like that happening. Play the Sphinx. We obviously here we get more value by playing out the Calcite Snapper than we do by bluffing a counter spell or a removal spell or something that we would play on their turn. So, unfortunately, we cannot equip Snapper with the hammer, but that's okay. We have 3 other creatures that will gladly hold a giant hammer. So I noticed that Mike Flores has been posting some more videos recently, and his first set were with Extended with the sorry, I'm having a brain fart this evening with Prismatic Omen Wargate in Extended, and he had his daughter Bella sort of guest star on it, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cute." And to be fair, it was very cute. And now she's back in this new set of videos with White Blue Polymorph, and so everyone's always saying, "Oh, that's the cutest thing ever." And like, I'm not gonna lie, it probably is, but I will not have young girls commentating on my Magic videos just because, well, one, I don't know any who know anything about Magic, although that's the main reason, and the other reason is that's just, kind of creepy. Like, Mike Flores, it's totally fine because they're his daughters, right? Or she's his daughter. But, I don't quite have daughters, so sorry to all you guys who love Bella Flores. Like, don't get me wrong, she's awesome. Certainly, I would take Bella Flores over Bella from Twilight any day. You know, that's me. Magic videos beat out Twilight, but that's not saying much. Anyway, so opponents. See, I told you, Berserk. I knew Berserk would be involved. Our opponent Berserks to pump up his card ape, and then I totally called it Berserk that blindly. Man, I'm on a roll. All right, so one big turn at the Berserk. I still don't think there's anything like if it was like land Fatal Frenzy or something like that, then that might, you know, plus a shock or something like that. But there's just I don't think there's enough. I think we've got this. Forked Bolt is fine. There is not an effect for a single red mana, or a single red mana and a 3-mana creature. I don't think there's an effect in Magic that will get them out of this. Is there like a creature that fogs or something when it comes to play? Maybe, but I don't know. Oh well, Fire Blast. Oh, sacrifice 2 mountains. That's fine. Oh, played a mountain and then sacrificed it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Or yeah, already had one. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, Fire Blast is fine, and we will just kill her. And we will name. You know, I always love when these conundrums makes attacks irrelevant. If the ability resolves, I will name Battle of Wits, because that is my pet card. Battle of Wits, for those who do not know, it's a 5-mana enchantment. During your upkeep, if you have 200 or more cards in your library, you win the game. And I played that deck in Extended a couple seasons ago, and it was absolutely great. When Elves was at its peak, and you just fill that deck with tutors and other stuff. And the side effect of having a ton of tutors is that you can tutor for answers to everything in the format. And so I would tutor for main deck Knight of Souls Betrayal, and tutor for Infest and stuff like that. And it was just a whole lot of fun. She chose Mountain, actually got it. There isn't an out, I don't think. Now, if I lose this game because there's a 3-mana, like a reach creature or something. Alright, there wasn't. And just after Thea joined into our match, we win. Alright, so that was easy but long because our opponent tanked a lot. Do I want this Imperial Seal? Not really, because I don't want to lose that much life. Is there anything else I could bring in that's better than losing life? Like, could I bring in this just as like a 3-mana 2/2? And would it be better than anything? Might be better than Capsize. Yeah, it probably is better than Capsize. Because like all their permanents are just like random dudes that don't do anything except for beat in for small but yet not 0 amounts of damage. So, Alright, back for Game 3 of Round 3 of this Cube Draft. We are playing the blue-black control deck against the red-green balls-to-the-walls aggro deck. Okay, so our opponents were just discussing something about sideboarding and whatnot. Yes, just for those of you who are wondering, we'll keep this hand. We have 2 plays. We might actually run this Willbender out as a 1/2. Probably not, but for those of you who are wondering, in a limited event, you may add or remove cards from your deck during sideboarding, so long as you have a minimum of 40 cards afterwards. And there's a turn 1 Pouncing Jaguar. So I didn't realize our opponent had 46 cards instead of 40 cards. And so when my opponent asked me, can I switch the number of cards in my deck when boarding? And I said, no, you can't lower it, but that's because I just assumed everyone plays 40 cards. So, we got everything set out. She's like, it turns out that that was only 1 card or something, and so I offered our opponent the chance to re-sideboard, and it was declined. So, but just FYI. And just for you guys knowing that I am not spouting this crap randomly off the top of my head. Oh, see? Goblin Patrol. Our Willbender trades with that. I am a DCI certified level 1 judge as of, I don't know, a month and a half ago or something like that. So, I know what I'm talking about. Hopefully going to see if I can judge Nationals this year. And judge GP Montreal, actually, because the organizer of GP Montreal is actually the same TO who runs all the Alberta PTQs and whatnot. And so having judged for him before and, being bilingual in French, it should be I should hopefully be out there in, I believe it's September, to judge some M11 sealed or M12 sealed deck. I'm going to trade here with the Jaguar just because that's really all I want to do, so that it gives me a little bit of time to draw. Oh, if he has Briarhorn, though, I lose. Or, will not lose. Okay, no Briarhorn. I forgot Briarhorn could be evoked for a second. And, but yeah, so hopefully I'll be judging there. Agony Warp's obviously a solid draw. Just gonna, I'll suspend this Cloud Skate. Just better to do it early than late, right? And I need to draw running lands to get to, like, 3 running lands to hit the to be able to hardcast it. And so the extra damage is probably going to pay off because I bet one of my next 3 draws will not be a land. And so, I'm probably saving time here. Briarhorn? Vengevine. Oh, that's a beater. I am going to most likely, probably going to play Willbender next turn. Or if I draw an untapped land, I play Shadow Mage. And then I'll do Agony Warp shenanigans. It's amazing how much less threatening Vengevine seems without survival, eh? Just one of the things you notice. Okay. Una's Prowler is a card that saw a ton of play for about a month. Or I don't know if it was like a month. It was just after Lorwyn came out, but I don't think Morningtide had come out. And it saw a ton of play, and it was like the chase rare in Lorwyn Standard. No one could find them, like, around local shops. And I think it was being used in some sort of beatdown deck or whatnot. But it then, like, saw no play after, good fairies came in Morningtide. And by that I mean Bitter Blossom. And so, yeah, and now it's like, I don't know, like $1, if that, 25 cents maybe. Chain Lightning. Oh man, our opponents just got all the goods. Interestingly enough, if we had our Crumbling Necropolis untapped and our Vivid Creek untapped, we could have redirected it. Okay. So I'm most likely running. Hopefully, I draw a land. If I draw a land, this is way more favorable. Because then I can play a 2-drop. And then Agony Warp, weakening the Patrol, killing the Vengevine. And with our opponent only having 2 cards in hand, minus anything they play this turn, like, the odds of rebuying the Vengevine are not high. And as well, like, if we can just survive till Riftwind Cloudskate, that's going to help us a bit. Although, we are at 4. And so Fire Blast kills us. Garruk does a very good job of threatening to kill us. So now we need to draw land, I think. Because if we draw land, we kill the Vengevine, weaken the token, block the Patrol, and then untapped, and we have Una's Prowler and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a struggle. He untapped 2 lands? Okay, oh well, yeah, because then he does threaten Overrun. Oh yeah, because Okay, so we hit the land. So I actually think we might be dead, though, because if he overruns next turn, we weaken the Patrol. The Patrol becomes a 2-1. Oh yeah, 2-1. It trades with Willbender, and then Vengevine. Yeah, Vengevine cleans up. Okay. We are alive, assuming our opponent doesn't draw anything. Face up a Willbender like a boss. How often do you see that play? However, this does go to show you how disgustingly sick Agony Warp is. There is no way that Garruk, Vengevine, Goblin Patrol should be trading with Willbender 2 lands. But it is. Oh no, our opponent didn't overrun. Alright, okay. So Graveborn Muse is pretty much a dead card. We can kill. We're still dead to Briarhorn. But and I wish he had overrun. Although, hold on. Yeah, because if he had overrun, I would be. Oh, but then I wouldn't trade with the patrol. Okay. Anyway, I don't. He still has a Garruk though, so he's probably gonna make a token, and then if he makes another guy, it's just gonna be really awkward. Because I Conundrum Sphinx, and he's gonna untap land so that he can overrun and then do this. Okay, 1 combat step. Wait, is this my last Riftwing Cloudskate? Yeah, it is. Oh, awesome. So I can just bounce the Garruk. That's pretty sick. I'm pretty sure my opponent did not think of that one. And we draw a Grave Titan. Obviously, I am not going to. Well, even if I could, I won't play a Graveborn Muse. Unless I draw, like, Hammer and get in a swing with the Hammer. Our opponent just does nothing? Oh, yeah, because if our opponent plays the Garruk, like. Or, I don't know. They play the Garruk. Yeah, you play the Garruk and you make a beast, at least. Or untapping lands again. I just don't know why you would do that, because now, like, you gained 4 life, I guess, but you lose your Garruk. And at least if you make a beast, then I have to, like, I attack Garruk with the Cloudskate, and then, I can't attack with the Sphinx in essence. Disfigure is a good one. I'm debating, like, just keeping back Disfigure or something in case our opponent has, like, some sort of haste effect. But we'll see. We'll name Swamp here, I guess. Because not only do we have more than 4 swamps in our deck, we have 5 swamps in our deck, I think. 5 or 6. Anyway, but, we also really want to draw a swamp. Because that means we can play Una's Prowler and leave Disfigure up. Just in case there's some sort of haste guy involved. Because our opponent does have a Briarhorn. Although, doesn't have enough mana to cast Briarhorn again. I will pause and then resume when our opponent has decided on their choice. So our opponent chose Forest and revealed Lightning Greaves. We revealed Night's Whisper, so neither of us hit off that. Garruk dies. We will play the Una's Prowler. Just because we really want to be beating in for a ton. Like, we don't want our opponent to have time to draw Firebolt or draw Volcanic Hammer, because we know those are 2 very real. Chain Lightning's already been done. Oh, I know what our opponent could be doing. Our opponent could have 2 creatures, or have 1 creature and be trying to draw a second, such that Vengevine will kill us. I forgot about that. So we might lose this if our opponent has double creatures. Yeah, if our opponent has a bird, actually we can block the Vengevine though. If they, assuming that if the creature has haste. Oh, that's pretty sick. Rancor the birds. Okay, so our opponent has Rancor. That's pretty sick. So we have to block here. So if our opponent doesn't have the creature, interesting. Okay, so I think I'm going to attack with... I'm going to attack with Prowler and Sphinx. And then leave back just in case our opponent has haste creatures and whatnot. And depending on what our opponent does with this birds. Because if we draw a swamp off the Sphinx, we will probably swamp and then play Thieving Magpie. And the other good thing though about having this disfigure is they hit an island, they hit a mountain. Oh, and they chose mountain. Oh, that sucks. So opponent got a land off that, got some value. Let's see how our opponent blocks. Like, I'm pretty sure our opponent won't block here, because why would you play the Rancor and show me the Rancor if you were just going to block? Right? It makes no sense. So, unless our opponent has instant speed, deals 2 damage to the target creature, or can pump for like +2/+2 or something. Oh, our opponent does indeed block. So we're going to keep Disfigure Mana back because now what we can do is our opponent has Land, Rancor, and 2 unknowns. So our opponent has Rancor and 2 unknowns now. What our opponent can do is they can play, if they bring back the Vengevine, and put Rancor on it, we lose pretty hard. But Disfigure is good because if our opponent casts Rancor, and then we can kill the target at instant speed, then it's much better because then the Rancor goes from the stack to the graveyard and not from the battlefield, so it won't return to our opponent's hand. I think we get in with just these 2. Yeah. We just want to, because attacking with the Cloudskate doesn't help our clock at all, and so this, in case, flying haste guys, we'll just keep naming Swamp. Although we actually should have held this Swamp back and then played the one we drew, just to keep information. See, now for our opponent, now is when you want to be naming your outs, because if you're drawing for a very specific card, opponent chooses Forest, okay, and hit it. But if you're drawing for a very specific card, like, you are not going to draw the card that's on top of your library regardless. It's either going to the bottom or it's going into your hand. So having it in your hand is much more important if you're drawing to your out. Whereas if you name something that's not your out and then you reveal your out, like if our opponent revealed like Volcanic Hammer or something like that off that forest, like, they lose the game because of it. So, oh wait, hold on, undo. I forgot we have not done combat yet. So that's how you play with conundrums. Like here, I'm not only am I wanting to draw a swamp, but I also have a relatively high chance of drawing it. Oh, our opponent also has no time left on their clock. They have like 54 seconds. So we are most likely going to win. Although we have this game more or less won. But if our opponent hits has a burn spell, Master Mars to draw a card, okay. If our opponent hits a creature, then they get back Vengevine. Opponent's tapped a green mana for some reason. Rancor on that. We will disfigure it. Although there's no point even to disfiguring it because it doesn't have haste. Opponent has 30 seconds left on their clock. I will be naming Sarpadian Empires Volume 7. It appears at the top of the list because it's in italics, and that's treated as a different alphabet apparently. So I always just like there in that case I just name it. And we won with our opponent having 10 seconds left on the clock. So that's it for this cube draft. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Hopefully, if Thea lets me, I will come back for more because I had a lot of fun. Once again, this is Zach for Power9Pro.com signing off for this evening. Just going to give you a heads up of what's coming down the pipeline. Most likely, we're going to be having some Masters Edition 4 drafts as those events. The pre-release starts this weekend, and then, as you see on the screen, launch parties start next week. So hopefully I'll get a few of those drafts in, and I will see you next time.